A lot of people are going through so much like physical body pain, unexplained illnesses, like depending on their template, some people are really feeling it more than others. But it's like actually because we are actually turning more crystalline.
Let's talk about shamanism and can you explain to our listeners what that really means?
Yeah, it's to me, it's shamanism is, it's not associated with any type of religion. It's not isolated to any type of group particularly. It's really like a practice of your own self-discovery. And it's very earth and nature based. So connecting with the elements and connecting with the earth. And then also shamans will have the ability to commune with spirits, like whether that's plant spirits or nature spirits or ancestors. So it's a very broad, involves music, and it's really, for me, it's really about your own healing journey of where you're peeling away trauma and things like that, and just having your own practice connected to prayer, connected to and I don't mean prayer in the religious sense, but
Right.
prayer is very powerful and a big part of shamanism. Actually, that was one of the things I had to deconstruct when I started shamanism was prayer.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about that. So expand
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did grow up in a religious household, went to the Catholic school, and I didn't resonate with it. It was too much in a box for me. And actually I had issues with the word God, and prayer. Like I couldn't do it because of just childhood memories of it being like so strict and rigid. And
Right.
then when I started on my shamanic training, one of the biggest things that we did was prayer and intention. And so I had to kind of deconstruct that programming. And what I found was that like prayer is just so powerful. It's just something that, it doesn't involve, any sort of, your life is literally a walking prayer, but even just setting like your intentions in the day for what you want to accomplish, or, calling in protection or asking for a specific outcome or the highest good in a situation. What I found was that when I started really practicing prayer, everything in my life changed. And that's actually when I started Shaman Sisters, was when I was doing my shamanic training and I was really implementing all the shamanic tools into my life, learning how to set boundaries and all these things that,
Yeah.
And prayer was just like, to this day, I could probably write a book just about like really like miraculous things that happened to me just through the power of prayer. So it's a very big part of shamanic work.
That's beautiful. I love that. So when you said shamanic training, what does that actually look like? What is somebody doing to become a shaman?
Good question. So I'm a shamanic practitioner. And most shamans like they won't actually call themselves a shaman. It's traditionally like the community that will call someone a shaman or a medicine person.
Right.
But even to become a shamanic practitioner does involve some training. There's different places that you can go. Some people will go to, the Amazon and they'll learn Andean shamanism. There's Native American shamanism. And like for me, I've learned a blend of many different practices. And that's what a lot of people will do. They'll take, but some people will take like a weekend retreat and then they'll start saying they're a shamanic practitioner, which doesn't work that
No,
way.
it does not.
Yeah. But for me, it's a way of life too. And if you I've been on this path for over 10 years. So, and done many different things. So it's not like it's a regulated thing, but there should be some kind of formal training involved in it, and it usually takes several years. Mine took several years. Yeah.
So as part of that, prayer, intention, plant medicines, I'm sure there's a lot that's a part of that. Can you break down what that experience looked like for you.
Yeah, so it was a lot of like the training, the original training that I did was kind of more, I would say, I don't know, I call it a little bit more hardcore because we did things like sweat lodges. We did things like vision quests where we were out in the dark with nothing, like no blanket, nothing, all night in the middle of, an island with like, no access. People were nearby, but you had no flashlight. And the whole point
Oh,
of that is
that's pretty hardcore.
yeah, yeah. And the whole point of that is to relinquish fear. One of the reasons. So we did a lot of stuff like that. And then a lot of ceremonies, many, many different types of ceremonies, working with the elements, learning how to do things like give offerings and honor spirits. One of the things we did that was really cool that a lot of people are talking about these days, there's this thing called, I don't know what they call it. It's like light therapy or dark therapy, and where they'll go, I don't know, for like a week in complete darkness. And we did a day of that. So we did a full day. We wore these things, they're called mindfolds, and literally there is no way of any light getting in. And so we show up and they told that there was no like ahead of time warning that we were going to be in darkness for the entire day. So we put these things on and they took us like around the city with helpers with these
Oh
blindfolds on.
man.
And actually so we went around the city, they brought us back. And when they brought us back into the building where we were, I could see fully the entrance to the door. I could see where my chair was inside the room, so that it opens up the third eye. I could see everything, with no actual light or any vision. So, and that was just one day. So I can only imagine what would happen in
In
a
a
week.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
very
that's so
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
So, in your bio, you say you are here to anchor in the crystalline frequencies. What does that mean?
So in terms of like what's happening on the planet right now, we are like our physical bodies are changing structure, from carbon to crystalline. And I don't know if you've noticed in your practice, like a lot of people, like even in my practice, and in my personal life, like a lot of people are going through so much like physical body pain, unexplained illnesses, like depending on their template, some people are really feeling it more than others. But it's like actually because we are actually turning more crystalline in structure, which sounds crazy.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's why for me, I feel like as a steward of crystals and crystal energy, I really see the importance of like working with them in a good way, sourcing them in a good way, and understanding like what they actually hold, like, not just collecting them as like a fad or something, but actually realizing that they're like helpers, they're spirit helpers that are helping us as we are ascending, as the earth is ascending. The crystals are here also to help us with that ascension.
Okay, so for someone who's like listening right now and they're like, I am going through a lot of physical pain and changes and just unexplained symptoms. Like, I just don't know what's going on. And here you are telling me these crystalline frequencies, our bodies are changing. For someone who maybe is hearing that, like, what do you suggest for them, to do, or maybe to step into, or maybe a way to start honoring more about what's showing up for them? Like, what should they do? Where should they start?
Yeah. I think it really helps to understand that like we're all in this together. Literally, like everyone is going through this on some level. Some people are having a harder time, but everyone is dealing with it. And so we're all going through these huge changes, which is like, we didn't expect this in this lifetime.
For sure.
But also like if they're really struggling, even just working with any kind of practice that is going to help them, like grounding to the earth, any kind of like meditation practice, and then really cleaning up like the lifestyle and the diet, because and I'm sure you teach everybody this, but drinking lots of water and really detoxing or nourishing or whatever it is that the body needs to do to just support that process, because it is uncomfortable, and no one likes it, and it's unexplainable, and we're here for it, so we just have to support in the best way that we can do that.